So you can get away with stuff, with abstract sculpture that you can't do in the real world. Because I decided I wanted to make this piece that was erotic and kind of on the verge of being pornographic. And at the moment I have this over at MIT, and it's so perfect because it's all in your mind in terms of how you understand it. But this came after an initial piece where the mechanism was holding the violin very high, and I just never quite had the right feeling. So I made the second one where the machine is caressing the violin with two ostrich feathers. And it really felt like that's, well, I don't really have to say it. But it also is an example of a direction I feel that I'm moving in, which is to integrate more video and to get closer to video. Here, decided that this actually is Billie Holiday slowed down, and she's singing "You Go to My Head." I wanted it to feel like the machine was singing to the violin while it caressed her. And there are actually other pieces. There are other pieces that I want to build where maybe I'll just be building parts of the mechanism. There's some machines I have in mind that are actually way too complicated to build that I know will be able to manifest in the video form. So that's one direction that I'm moving into, is to really explore video, because I love that form. And it's a little hand crank mechanism. And when you turn the crank, the mechanism is very slowly, with a soft pink pom-pom, it's caressing the heart of Adolf Hitler. And it came out of conversations with my partner Chehalis, and we've been talking a lot about forgiveness, and we've been talking about this notion of evil, and trying very hard. If you want to pause it, if you dare to do that, yeah. Thinking very much about looking at the dysfunction in the world, and when people do supremely bad, evil things, to somehow look at that not as quote-unquote evil, but to look at it as deep spiritual sickness, and about having lost a connection to our own sense of humanity. And I wanted to make a piece, this piece, as really a tool for myself to remind myself of my own dysfunction, in a sense. The fact that no, I'm nowhere. Very few people will ever be anywhere where Hitler was in terms of being disconnected and sick, if you will. But I think we all have aspects of that. Every time we look at anyone and label them, we create a separation between us. And I believe that there's really no separation between any of us. I'm constantly having to remind myself and work on that, and decided that this piece would be a kind of a tool for working on that, reminding that. And she actually just became a Catholic, and she had been taking classes, and in one of the classes she asked the priest, she said, well, shouldn't I pray for Hitler? And she wrote me an email on that day, and earlier in the day I had sketched this piece, and it felt like it was a sort of a beautiful moment in time where this deep conversation had sort of come to fruition. So I built this piece We gave it to her as a sort of a working tool for us to both work on. So, trying to, I hope that makes sense, but it's definitely a kind of a using the machine really as a kind of a part of Boston area. He was making a lot of little time-lapse movies. So you get a sense of the scale of the parts. That chair that gets picked up was a real bedwood chair. There was no music when it was shown for the one and only time it was ever shown at the Decortivo Museum, because the music would have like driven people crazy, just repeating all the time, because we had it continually going back and forth. So in many ways, it's very complete now that it's here in video form.